Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, this gentleman. Fascinating story he's got. And this is just a testament to you can pretty much do anything you put your mind to. He was a tennis pro, tennis legend, got a brand new book out, by the way, back when he was very young, in his teens, very low 20s, and that eventually turned into a career as a prominent architect in the New York City area. And we're going to talk about both of those today as he joins us once again. John Riggio is on the program. Hey, John, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Steve. How are you?
Good, good. It's great to have you back here. Fascinating stories that have come about. And this tennis pass for you, as I understand it, kind of got a resurgence or a boost by you doing podcast. Tell us about that.
Yes. I think the podcasts we made here and that I go back to starting off with just audio podcasts really brought back a lot of memories and that were really just like dormant for a long time. So it was really good talking about, say, my architect profession. Then when we got into some stories of how my architect profession really started to get developed and why I went into the architecture profession was really because it was good as I played pro tennis. And that was the most amazing thing. And that started off really in my senior year, putting together those different things, and then finally going to college to work as an architect. And then years later, as I was working in the field and then started to make these podcasts, I started to talk about my pro tennis years. And I think the pro tennis stories, there turned out to be so many stories, and I'm still remembering all of them. I think it culminated to where I have now made a book. I have the book here. Let me just show the picture here.
Mm-hmm.
It says My Home Court, the life story of tennis legend John Riggio. And tennis legend in tennis is really a technical term for winning a certain number of tournaments. That's how they told me I was already a tennis legend. I mean, the idea of a legend also that no one is like something that isn't necessarily written down was very interesting as I brought back the memories of tennis. I think starting to make the legend real with this, with the story of playing tennis, and
Wow.
there's so many different stories too. I think I went through the book and I talked about some certain stories. One type of story I did talk about in the book was playing different matches, and I had a very high percentage of winning my matches. The only thing is, every once in a while I would lose a match. Someone would figure out how to win the game. So what happens is, since I was such an excellent player, and a lot of times I would have the ability to play a second match, uh, I would play the second match, and between the first match and the second match, I would usually use my smarts to figure out how to win, to find how to plug the hole of where they got the points, and then hit the ball back and then win the game. So I think that over my career, there was a few players that if they won one match, it turned into like a series of matches. They wanted to see if this opponent was really figuring out how to win, and he really did have the ability, or he just had a trick shot. And so I think I could share the screen and just go through this here.
Let's take a look. Sure. By the way, I had no idea that the term tennis legend refers to the number of games played. I thought that was just a label somebody puts on, somebody else.
I think it is a term you could use, but in tennis, there is a technical term for the word legend.
Wow.
If you win a certain number of tournaments. That's what I was told. And this took on pretty much at an earlier point in my pro career as it really got going. That was over at Sutton East in Manhattan. And when I just started playing there, I think the first 6 months or so, I really attained that title. And and I played a number of years after that, winning more matches, more tournaments. And since I won a certain number of tournaments, that made me a tennis legend. So I think I couldn't really remember everything they told me. I wasn't writing anything down. And over the years, I just remembered all those different things. In the book, I put down a lot of the things I was able to remember, all those different facts about tennis legend and things like that. But the book in particular isn't like a complete encyclopedia of my tennis career or even life story, but it gives a nice straightforward story, and I tried to keep it where it doesn't go off the track. And I think just looking at the this here, let me just go here to the now this is the table of contents. So what I did was I have it down here in a total of 13 plus one introduction of the chapter. And so this goes through, and I have here, it goes through the origins of my tennis journey, the rise of my tennis dream, the courts of triumph, my own tennis center, then playing in Manhattan, then on the road and back, moving up and outdoors, an international view, my last big tournament run, the end of the end. And then I just get into architect, career, and marriage. And then more recent years, returning to tennis and onward. And then I just have a conclusion talking about some interesting things. So since the book, it involves a lot of things of my architect career, because since my talking about my tennis has started to come out through my podcast about my architect profession, I included a lot of it in here, and some of it you can see some of it was mixing together. Sometimes some people I was working with in the architect profession, they somehow knew people that I was involved with tennis. That was very interesting, and that's in the book here. You'd have to really read it. I think just going to let's go to playing in Manhattan. Okay, so going over here, I think there was some things here about playing in Manhattan. I think one important thing about playing Manhattan I don't talk about much is my coach, who was Anthony Cambria for many years. That came to an end, and it switched over to Mr. Tony Schlodnick. And I think so that was very good. So they are very similar type of coaches. They both have a lot of degrees in sport education, and that was what was happening at that time. And then here, as I played some of the tournaments, I talked about all the different teams. I talked about the different teams in from around the world that came to play me. Talk about the different players that were in the USA. A lot of the people from around the world were living here in the USA because tennis is really centered over in the National Tennis Center in Flushing, Queens, New York City. So there are a lot of people coming here. So that was one advantage I had, that everyone was coming here. I didn't have to go and find them to play. So that was one thing. And I was talking about all different types of tournaments. I think this page here is just showing the tournaments I played with the Portugal tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one player. His name was Luis Madero. He I played him a number of times, but he came to the Sutton East, and this was part of just playing some tour matches, and he beat me on one match. He won the match.
Mm.
So what happened was that match is he had this ability to hit the ball, get it past me on one part of the court, and then not only that was when I was hitting the ball to his left side, he was able to run up and hit the ball. So there were 2 points. He was able to get the ball past me on the left, and he was able to hit the ball back on the right. So between the time I first played him, they made it where I play a series of matches against him. My sponsors were looking at him. Maybe they were even thinking about sponsoring him too. I mean, I was winning so many matches at a high level. Anyone who could beat me at a match, they're starting to look at that. Maybe they could sponsor him too. And but what happened is from the time we played is I started first was to stop him getting the ball past me to my left side. So to do that, I had to really go through and started to really devise a shot to hit it back. And I devised a way to really run all the way down the court and then come all the way forward, and then I would hit the ball, and I would hit it past him down the line, so it would go past his right side. So that was working good. Now my shot to his left side, which was originally I hit a short shot, he was able to run forward and hit the ball, which is amazing. And that, you have to have a lot of agility to really run forward to the left side and then hit a short shot. I mean, if you watch tennis, you see people hit the little short shot over the net.
Hmm.
No one could get it. He was able to run up and hit that ball. So what I did was I devised this plan, and this isn't in the book. I'm just saying it now. I only described the hit to my depth. I was able to figure out how to stop it. But what I did is I was thinking more about that match. Is I did a second point. I was able to get the ball past him on his left also, and the reason I did this is because instead of hitting the ball short where he could run forward, I hit the ball right in line to wherever he's standing on the court. So instead of having the ability to run forward and hit the ball, he'd have to run sideways. And it's very difficult to just run sideways and get your racket over and hit the ball back. So wherever he was standing in the court, instead of hitting it short, I hit it right in line with where he was. He couldn't get over and hit the ball anymore. And that really made it where I was able to just start to win all the matches against him again. And so that ended that whole series of matches. I was able to really win. And I really did it by using my smarts, thinking about how to win. I didn't think about how to hit the ball faster. I already maxed out how fast I could hit the ball. I'm using a legal tennis racket. He's using a legal tennis racket, and so hitting the ball any faster wasn't really part of the strategy. I had to really figure out how to hit the ball smarter and better, and that's how I was able to win that set. And so that worked really good.
Hey,
So
John,
in that, I talked about that.
did you find that when an opponent had a good shot or a few good shots, or maybe they won the game, did you find yourself becoming almost obsessed, trying to fit like what did they do and how I could do that better?
Yes, yes, of course. I think sure, whenever you're playing someone, if they are playing really good, sure, the idea is always try to play better.
Mm.
I mean, I think maybe learning from someone's particular shot, trying to do the same shot. Yeah, I think that starts off when you're really just learning, trying to put together all your different way of holding the racket, hitting the ball, and you might try to do that, learning from seeing people hit the ball. Uh, there's nothing wrong with doing that. That's really good. I think watching people play tennis, if they're playing really good,
Sure.
that could help you play better on the court instead of watching people who aren't playing good. This isn't going to help you at all. So I think you're watching people play good on the court and then trying to hit the ball more like they do, see if you could hit the ball better. Yeah, I think that takes place when you're just learning also. And then by that time you would gain confidence where you don't really have to concern yourself with trying to imitate his type of hitting the ball. You would already know how to do it by that point.
Gotcha. How about some of the relationships you've made? I remember one you talked about. You had a girlfriend. I think her name was Delilah at one point,
Yes.
and then there was somebody else you met who was actually also studying architecture as you were.
Yes, that's correct. Now, over the years, I had my girlfriend Delilah, and I talked a lot about her. She's in the book. I wrote a lot about the stories and the different things that happened with her over the years.
Hmm.
I knew her when I was younger, particularly as soon as I signed that pro contract. She was really my steady girlfriend and really was there for
I
all
think
my pro
any man who
contracts.
signs a contract for like $100 million is going to have a girlfriend right away. uh,
Yes.
but
Well,
tell me about that woman that you met who was playing tennis but also was into architecture.
yes. Now, I also had other girlfriends, and one girlfriend that wasn't really like my steady girlfriend, but I did meet her originally at the Fisher Open in 1987. And she was there at the same night. And really, I think I did get very nice meeting with her. It was in front of everyone and everything, but she was really happy to meet me, and I think she really fell in love with me immediately.
Mm.
I think the only problem at that time with Delilah was really my girlfriend, and so she was someone new to me. And this is before I started going to the college. And it turns out she was going to college too in the same exact architecture major.
Wow.
So what happens is, as I went to college, I continued to meet her, and she was a friend of mine in college. During college, she changed majors to communication. So we stayed friends, and um, she also was one of the ice skaters with Dorothy Hamill. She used to do the same kind of ice skating as Delilah, and she was exactly in the same group of ice skaters. I know a lot of the females that were in that whole ice skating with Dorothy Hamill. And she was also very smart. She's one of the top grades in her class, too. So she was very smart. And we went to college together. And I think one thing about her is that she had the same kind of thing. She was had a certain kind of like professional type job, and she was also involved with that entertainment. I think one interesting point about her that I learned knowing her as a friend is whenever she would say something in a group of people that she was ice skating with Dorothy Hamill, miraculously everyone would get up and leave the room except for me. This happened a few times. This was really a very strange thing. I think that is something I talk about in the book. Is some things about entertainment, and then some things like just basic everyday going to school and work and things like that. And so that was one interesting thing, and I think that's one thing of why we stayed friends. And I did know her even to years later, and she uh I think since the lighter had passed on, and then with my friend there, Gina. So what she did was, I think eventually we did talk again, and she was interested in getting married to me. She did propose to get married to me, and I didn't want to say no. But what happened was I was already married, so I
Ah,
mean I didn't really was in a position to
sure.
get married to her. I think she was a little upset with some things because since we had some similarities of going to the same cottage, she was in the same major for a while, and she had a job, and then she was also doing entertainment with Dorothy Hamill for many years. She sort of had the same kind of understanding. And I think she was a little bit upset about something. She wasn't too happy. Everything didn't go so perfect. But I think her wanting to get married to me in the end was pretty happy for me. She was a good friend, and I had talked to her seriously a number of times over the years. So I think that was pretty good. And so
Wait,
she was another female that was involved that I didn't talk about before, and I don't have her in the book. I didn't want to confuse things. I didn't put her in the book at all, but she is another friend that was also around and involved with entertainment and things like that. And she saw me win the Fisher Open. She was there and she was so happy and everything. And so that was good.
hmm.
In fact, she fell in love with me before I won the Fisher Open. It was before I started playing the match. So that was really good.
Tell me about the transition from tennis to architecture. How did that take place?
Yeah, what happened is I had gone through a few different career ideas. One of them was going into the new careers they had with computers. And the next one was the field of aviation. But what happened is it turned out the architect work would work better with my tennis playing. I felt I had the most backing for the architect work too. you can go to college for something thinking you're gonna get a job or something. It might not happen. I hear stories about people, then they have to go back to school. They're lost for a while. If they're lucky, they can get a new career. So I think that was more of a set things, and it proved to be true that going into architect work, I was able to make that simple money starting off, to getting drafting jobs, making money off of things like that. And I think the like trying to find a high scale paying job, I don't know. I think I discussed some things like um some possible opportunities to have other types of careers. But the architect work really did take hold, and so that was always good. And so that's really how it took place. So I think there was also another idea of maybe not going to any cottage at all. And but I think the only problem with that was really the same idea of making some money, was really making money to pay everyday expenses
Sure.
and things like that. I think the other ideas of different careers, I think one career when they had the career afternoon in school with, I had first proposed to become a lawyer. I was
Uh,
suggested that is an excellent career. In fact, the initial teacher who was there to give everyone an idea of what they could do, he didn't really say that was okay with him. So he was telling me the architect is better for me. And so there's things like that. I think also, like when I was growing up, as far as careers go, I think everyone likes to talk about careers, potential careers. My father was the first one on with a career. Since he was a contractor when he was younger, he taught me how to braze copper pipes. So, like at the age of 7, I learned how to braze copper pipes. He gave me an idea of going onto the job site and brazing the copper pipes, and I can make a lot of money. I can move out of the house when I'm 9 years old doing something like that. So he taught me how to do that when I was younger. I knew how to do something like that. And I didn't really think it was a bad idea. That was pretty good. I think another idea my father had was going into more like a light industrial printing. That also was, I always pursued things like that, but I think he would have to really make the whole thing happen. When I
sure.
pursued some of those jobs, it wasn't really allowed unless my father really made the job take place, got me the job, got me the income going for that to work. So in school, there was a few opportunities, like I was saying, with computers, the aviation, wasn't that many real job openings either. And so the architect work was very good. I had ability to do it. And I went into that and it seems to have worked pretty good. I think when I was going to college and I had my side jobs, I could handle going down to the tennis center and playing. There's other players that were doing that same kind of work. So I didn't think it was strange. I wasn't the only one doing things like architectural drafting. Some people were doing architectural engineering drafting. And I was talking even to the team in Japan. They're telling me the same thing. A lot of them are doing things like architectural drawing while they're playing pro tennis.
Wow.
So I think that for us that it wasn't really wrong. I don't know what the reason is why that works. Okay, but so I think that was one different thing. I don't know what in fact is a definite better career. No one really said any definite better careers for me that I could really do and just get on going with getting income and then also playing pro tennis. So if anyone was figuring out something like that, maybe they could tell everyone. I mean, that was something interesting. But at the time, no one really knew what to do. A lot of people playing tennis, they have some side jobs. Some of them have those professions, lawyers, engineers, architects, and then some people have also like a basic job, like things like working at a store, taxi driving,
Sure.
working as in taking phone calls, like customer service phone calls. A lot of people they do like basic jobs like that to make extra money. So I think that was one thing that no one really figured out some definite things of what to do. I think that was something very interesting over the years, and that was a little opening also for people to try to really think and figure out what they could do to make money, play pro tennis and things like that. And that was one thing that was very interesting over the years with that. It was somewhat difficult, and I think things like that can get frustrating too with the tennis and having to work the job, wondering what is the correct job, how you can make good money. Is it affecting your tennis? Is it affecting the people around you? I think with architect work, really, in all honesty, it's similar to like people doing wood framing, where some things you're really kept a little bit alone. So I wonder if that was really affecting my tennis, particularly in the end around 1999, why there's no one around to play tennis, why the court's locked, why things like that are happening. And I was always wondering if it was really working in the profession, in the construction industry, that was affecting that. Finally, at that point, I think starting off noticeably, it wasn't bothering me. But I think by 1999, I was starting to wonder if that whole thing with the construction industry was putting some stress on tennis, keeping pro tennis going, things like that.
Well,
I
you
talk
you
in the
got
book
very
also about,
lucky. You got very lucky in that you had a passion when you were, as I understand it, when you were a kid. It wasn't, I want to be a tennis pro. I just want to play tennis. I love it. And then that turned into what became your tennis career. But you got that done so early in life that you were able to go on to something else. Not many people can do that. I wanted to be a syndicated cartoonist. I came that close, but I honestly I gave up and I went into radio. You continued and did phenomenal at tennis, and then the same thing when you went over into architecture. Tell us again. The book is available on Amazon, just out in the last
sure,
month or so. Yep, my own
yes,
court, the
it's
life
available on
story.
Amazon. You can buy also the ebook is right on Amazon. You read it on Kindle.
Sure.
It's only $9.99, and you get the soft cover or the hard cover of the printed book, and they'll mail it right to you. This all you do is just go onto Amazon.com, and it's right there for you.
Beautiful. John, great talking with you. Congratulations on all your accomplishments and the book. It's an inspiration. You are an inspiration to follow your dreams. JohnRiggio.com is your website, JohnRiggio.com. Thanks for being here today. Really appreciate it.
But thanks a lot, Steve. Talk to you later. Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.